What's up guys, welcome to another video that I wanted to make. I'm talking about this time about the Resident Evil 5. I am a huge Resident Evil fan. So Capcom had the amazing idea of grabbing Resident Evil, taking the games that have been done before by people that actually care about making good games, and remastering those games. Now, they have remastered Resident Evil 2, remastered Resident Evil 3 and 4. Well, how's it been? Resident Evil 2 was a remaster remake with following the same storyline in the Resident Evil 2, in the original, but really upgrading every single aspect of it and making it more enjoyable and giving it a little bit more content, which automatically made it a huge success. Made me a fan of Resident Evil 2, a game that I have previously not played before. Now, Resident Evil 3 came out after, and it was alright. The content was not that much. The game itself, the story, fine. It was fine. It was not bad. It was not the best. And then they followed it up with Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now this one, let me tell you, could have been a game of the year. If I think that same year though, there were really some great video games, and it was so good. Had a little bit of rewrites in the story, but it was very solid. Not like the original. There is an extra scene teasing the enemy Resident Evil 5, which is, spoiler alert I guess, if you don't know, it's Albert Wesker. Resident Evil 5 has been expected to be remade, just following the steps of Resident Evil 4 and everything. It's been met with a little bit of speculation, a little bit of criticism. A huge article from IGN that was that the game doesn't have to be remade, it has to be reimagined. Because once you revisit certain Resident Evil games, especially 4 and 2, there are some scenes, some dialogue, some things that are maybe not as well aged. They're a little bit outdated, to be exact.
Just because you killed my small-time subordinate.
Sadler, you're small time.
What are we gonna do, Leon?
Hate to say it, but we're sandwiched, all right. Hey, it's that dog. I really don't give a damn. Rain or shine, you're going down.
Oh, what a touching moment we have here.
All spoiled thanks to your interruption.
No way, Leon.
Way? Guess that's a local's way of breaking the ice. Why don't you do us all a favor and leave before the audience gets pissed off? Sounds more like an alien invasion if you ask me.
Since you're here, why don't I introduce you to it? It should keep you busy.
Can't remember the name, huh? A senior moment, perhaps.
Is she... well, you know.
Don't worry, she's cool.
I let our miserable insects out for some exercise down in the sewer.
Thanks. That should keep me company, because boredom kills me.
All by yourself?
I'm sure you boys didn't just tag along so we could sing Kumbaya together at some Boy Scout bonfire. Then again, maybe you did.
Sorry I couldn't get in touch sooner, but I was a bit tied up. Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
Gotta go. If I were you, I'd get off this island too.
She really pushed it.
But I'm afraid it's Ashley we need. Not you, Mr. Kennedy.
If you don't need me, then get off my back, old man! Hasta luego.
They're called the Los Illuminados.
Los Illuminados? That's a mouthful.
Are you out of your mind?
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt. Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Your biggest scene is over.
I don't ever remember being a part of your crappy script.
I've been expecting you, my brethren.
No thanks, bro.
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
And Resident Evil 5 is a complicated game to remake. Now, for me, and for a lot of people, especially maybe Resident Evil fans, this didn't really sound like a big deal. doesn't really sound like a big deal. Found the plans of Capcom trying to remake that game and heavily scrutinized it's a situation here. That type of game faced some sort of backlash, maybe socially, maybe from the gamers themselves.
Now, this is a Resident Evil game, but it doesn't play like some of the Resident Evil games you might be familiar with in the past. This is more of an action game than a survival horror game.
I would actually go as far to say as that this is really not a Resident Evil game at all.
It's a way to just get around it, which is maybe just a little bit of a rewrite here and there. I don't really personally think the game is as bad as people make it out to be. So yeah, disappointing to see that this is what takes Resident Evil 5 a little bit more to develop, a little bit more to rewrite, you know, tweaks here and there.
Have my eyes set on something much bigger.
Resident Evil 5 is a complicated game to remake due to the fact that it is based in Africa.
Resident Evil 5's most notorious problem: racism.
Now, for me, and for a lot of people, especially maybe Resident Evil fans, this didn't really sound like a big deal. Doesn't really sound like a big deal. Wow, it's based in Africa. Everybody knew that. Everybody that's played the game knew that. The problem is that the people that don't play the games and are very much just focused on PC culture found that game.
That humans are the real monsters.
Kill zombies, behead zombies, roundhouse kick a zombie into the concrete, blow zombies' heads with magnums, suplex zombies, feed zombies liquors, throw zombies into lava, blow zombies up with rocket.
It's based in Africa. You're a white guy, Chris Redfield, jacked to the bones, and you're shooting zombies at Africans. Black Africans. Unfortunately for this game, that's a no-no nowadays. That type of game would be heavily scrutinized, would probably face some sort of backlash maybe. Now the problem here is, how would this affect the story? Based in Africa, the story is kind of the same. Then what could change? Countless fans of Resident Evil 5, all three of us are it's not a problem that it's gonna get a few rewrites here and there, but I seriously think like this could be as like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2. He had some tweaks to the story, some little changes here and there, not just to make it a remake, but to make it feel refreshing as well, kind of updating the story, if you will. So Resident Evil 5, I think it's gonna come and it's gonna be a little bit more. You can change the setting, and then that way it won't change that much. It changes a little bit in the story, but I guess you could get around it. You know, you don't have to be in Africa or whatever. But I really do hope that they kind of stick to what made Resident Evil 5 for me and for a lot of people great. Resident Evil 4 didn't really shy away from the ridiculousness of I really do think that Resident Evil 5 has a good chance of just staying the way it is. It is actually probably being worked as of right now. Now, there's not really any official source that come out and says that, but there's really like no debate into whether there's going to be remade or not. It's a huge money opportunity, a huge business opportunity, and of course I think it's going to be remade. If there is some sort of political correctness guideline that they have to follow for us to get this great game out, then I really hope that they do. But maybe they don't change anything, and maybe they write it, and that will be interesting to see too, because it will open a discourse for sure. Okay, I'll see ya.